My father-in-law is Egyptian.
Oh,
So how about that squash connection?
I love that.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
He was
Does
born
he play squash?
No, he's 94, but he
But they were playing squash 94 years ago.
he grew up in Egypt. He grew up in Alexandria. I tell all the Egyptian players that, it gives me a little bit of credibility.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. It
Yeah.
does. It does.
Yeah.
Here we are for another edition of Boast About It. I'm super excited because I'm with the CEO, newly minted CEO of US Squash. I think you've been in the job for 1 month.
1 month.
Mollie Marcoux Samaan.
You got it.
And you were just telling me that your father-in-law is Egyptian, so you were literally bred for this position.
Made for this position.
Yeah,
And he is very excited, as you can imagine. Squash is obviously very prevalent in Egypt. Even when I was at Princeton, he asked about squash all the time. And so, yes, he's very excited about this.
So
he told all his friends, too.
I looked at your background, and it seemed like squash has been trying to rear its head in your life
Yeah.
from the beginning, and you finally let it completely in.
Yes, it's in. It's fully in.
It's fully in.
Yes.
So you started as an athlete. You were an ice hockey player.
Yeah, and soccer. I played
And
ice
soccer.
hockey and soccer at Princeton.
Two great sports.
Yes.
I would say soccer is every bit as athletic as squash in many of the same ways. You've got to run around, move around all the time.
Footwork.
Footwork, super important. But the first, I think, introduction to squash was when you were running athletics at Princeton and they rebuilt the courts. Is that sort of?
Well, actually, so I grew up in Ithaca and,
Yeah.
on the Cornell campus all
Yeah.
the time, sneaking into all the facilities to try
Yeah.
to play sports in the middle of the freezing cold. So I had an exposure to squash, in my youth, just fooling around. And
Yeah.
then when I worked at Chelsea Piers for 19 years, both here in the city and in Connecticut. And in Connecticut, we built squash
Oh, of
courts.
course.
And we
That's the
built
first
So
one.
that was my
Yeah.
real first interaction with the
course.
game. And so we opened that facility, and I was the executive vice president in charge of the facility, so helped with the construction.
And it's a glorious facility.
It's beautiful, right? You walk in and all
Yeah.
the glass and
How many courts again?
I think we have 10 courts there, and plus
Yeah.
a doubles court, and that was my first real
Yeah.
foray into squash. And it was great, and learned a ton about the industry and the sport. And then when I went to Princeton, obviously we have
They rebuilt the courts,
We
right?
we did. So we have two amazing teams, as you
Yeah.
know, and so I was super involved there. And we were able to, while I was there, we were able to endow the men's head coaching position after Bob Callahan, which was a really special thing that we were able to tell him before he died in Kristen, and that was really meaningful and impactful.
Oh.
And to be able to get that done was, and I attended his funeral, and that was one of the first times I saw just how amazing the squash community is,
Yeah.
and what passion there is, and how much they loved him and everything he did for the sport. And I was really moved by that. And then during my time, we were able to, convince the university to build the new squash center. So I helped design that, obviously with Gail and Sean
Yeah.
and with all the alums.
That was a huge upgrade from what it was.
Huge upgrade, and we still look back at it and say that it was pretty amazing that we were able to
Yeah.
accomplish that. And the coaches did a great job of helping design it, and we had awesome architects and the facility team.
Yeah, and I would go so far as to say you wouldn't have some of the amazing players that you've had come through Princeton without having done that
Yeah,
build.
it's hard to not fall in love when you walk into that
Yeah.
space. And the donors, the alums were so supportive of it, and just so many people stepped up to help get that done. And so really proud of that. And that was really fun to, got to see a different side of the sport as we were designing it and putting that all together and working towards the completion. But I left before we finished it, but I went back, and before it even opened, got a tour and saw it, and was just blown away by what the end product was.
So then you went to the LPGA.
Then I went to the LPGA.
And you've gone from there to here. What experiences did you get from the LPGA that are applicable to you? They're very different kinds of organizations, but I'm sure there are learnings from one that you can apply to the other.
Yeah, it's almost perfect. I mean, the Chelsea Piers experience really helps with obviously the junior programming
Yeah.
and amateur sports, youth athletics. So had almost 20 years working in that environment, and then going to Princeton, and obviously worked really hard there on sort of the high performance program at Princeton. We developed Princeton Tiger Performance, where we
Yeah.
sort of combined leadership, high performance, sort of strength and conditioning conditioning, working with the athletic medicine team, with the coaches to create sort of the full holistic kind of performance model. And that was really exciting. We hired our first performance director overall, and really proud of the work that we did there. We brought in sports psychologists to work with the athletes, and so that was a really important element sort of leading to this job. And then similarly at the LPGA, I mean, we worked a lot on athlete services, making sure they were in an environment where they could reach peak performance. It was more commercial. That job was, I would say the Princeton job was more about the values and sort of education through athletics. Obviously we were trying to win and compete at the highest level. But then getting to the LPGA, there was a lot of that too. We were very mission driven, but we had to be commercially very strong in order to keep the tour moving and keep the women making the money, you know, sort of that they deserved at that highest level of the game. Yeah. So we were able to focus on raising purses. I think when I started there, women were playing for like $70 million, and when I left, they were playing for $130 million. So yeah,
fist bump.
Yeah.
Boom.
So that was huge. And then we also worked on the same types of thing that I'm, you know, focused on here too. Is how do you create an athletic environment where the people in the environment can reach their goals, whatever their goals are, particularly if they're striving for excellence at every level. So that was really fun to work on that.
One of the things that you did in your first 30 days, which I loved, I saw it on social media and I loved it, is you got on court and you said, I'm going to try to play squash.
Well, I played, you know, I think probably as a kid I hit 5 balls. At Chelsea Piers, I played a couple times. Yeah. And I loved it then. And my daughter actually reminded me the other day that I said the same thing when I played squash at Chelsea Piers, you know, 10 years ago. She said, when you played at Chelsea Piers, you said you were going to become a squash player and that you absolutely loved it. And then I got a little busy, you know, raising 3 kids and going to Princeton. But so I played a couple weeks ago at the Specter Center, and I fell in love with it again. I mean, it's addicting. I was late for a meeting because I didn't want to get off the court. People were like, hey, we're getting started upstairs. And I was like, we're having so much fun.
Well, you're focused on the important things,
squash. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've played over the course of this year, you know, I've had more time to do some of the things that are, you know, really fun in life, playing golf and playing tennis. I've been doing some consulting and working on some entrepreneurial projects, but I really focused a lot on my fitness and my playing tennis. Now I've added squash into it, so it's going to be, you know, I can tell it's going to be another passion.
Well, I think from the golf, the swing.
Similar, right?
Very similar.
Yeah.
And from the tennis, volley everything.
Yeah, volley. Yeah, the only problem is I'm not a great volleyer in tennis. I'm not great at the net.
Squash is going to help you in tennis.
So
you're going to get better
go both
at it.
ways. But I do like a good slice.
Yeah.
So I think the funny thing about that experience, but getting on the court, I think the U.S. squash team thought that I was going to have trouble like making contact with the ball. Their expectations were very low. That's great. And so then I started playing. They're like, "Oh, you can actually hit the ball." So, so it was so fun. So I'm going to play again this week. We're scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, right. And then I'm going to play every day after work in the center this week. So I can tell that it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to think about all the time.
When you're in New York, I'll have a court for you whenever you want it.
Can we play?
We can definitely play.
Okay.
I'd love to play with you.
Awesome.
And we don't have to have it on camera.
Okay, that would be good. I did go also, I went this weekend to the doubles nationals in Rye at Appowamus, like Rye and Greenwich, and there was a 60-plus division, and I was like, okay, I got 3 or 4 years to practice every day. I don't think I'll get that. I'll make that leap, but it was really fun and inspiring to see people still playing and competing, and people watching and cheering on the men and the women at every age division. It's so fun. It's a really fun, and it's a great, you know, I've been really trying to be very healthy, and so it's a great workout too. I mean, you can't beat it. I was drenched by the time I finished.
That's
and
right.
You know, so it combines all the things that I love, and so anyway, it was really fun, and I hope I can report back to you next time we talk that I've become somewhat proficient in it. But
I'm sure you can. So before we move on to the next subject, maybe you could say a couple of words to this camera about to women of any age who are thinking about playing squash. What would you tell them?
Oh, well, first of all, as I said, fantastic workout. I think we're all trying to think about as we age, you know, if you're talking about older women, sort of what you need to do to really have that health span, not just a lifespan. And I think all the things that you do in squash are the things that all the experts are telling us that we need to do in terms of moving our body, lunges, body weight, you know, sort of getting our heart rate up and elevated. So from a fitness perspective, even if squash, you've never played squash before, and then, you know, everyone talks about racket sports and what it does for your longevity, for your brain, for sort of your mental health. So there's that. And then it's just a great fun competition. And I think a lot of what sports does, it builds leaders individually, but it also builds community. So to be in community with other like-minded people who are interested in fitness, interested in being together in community and doing something that they love, I don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't play squash. I think it's the best workout in 45 minutes that you can imagine. So I'm getting all my tennis women down in Orlando to come out for a squash event. There are 2 courts in Orlando in Maitland, so we're going to get up to that facility and we're going to do a little outing with my tennis team, and I think they're going to get a little obsessed as well.
I'm excited about squash because I see it starting to grow again. Yeah, I see more activity on social media. We're in the Olympics. What can you talk to us about any initiatives that you have? I mean, it's only 30 days in, so I'm not going to hold you to anything.
Yeah.
But what thoughts do you have, and what initiatives can US Squash have to sort of help us grow, and what can we do to help?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think about the role of a governing body, I think you think about winning medals, and sort of being sort of thinking about excellence all the time at the highest level of the sport, and thinking about how we are represented on the world stage. So I think that's really fun, thinking about the pathways.
Olivia Weaver.
Yes, and many others, but Olivia is amazing, and she was a student athlete at Princeton when I was AD. So, and I actually worked with her. She was on our varsity student athlete advisory committee, as you can imagine, because she's so smart and she's so amazing, and so she was really passionate about making Princeton athletics better and was focused on high performance stuff at that time. And so anyway, it's been nice to reconnect with her. But I mean, look at the Sobey sisters and Marina and Timmy and Dylan, and they're amazing. Nick and Salim. I've met with all of them, and there's a couple more that I still need to meet with. But so that's on the sort of the tip of the pyramid. But I think it's really about excellence in the sport, and so that's one goal, is to make sure that we're doing a great job there. And then I think the other goal of a governing body is to grow the sport. And so how do you do that? That's a hard thing to do, but I think you got to be good marketers, and we've got to think about how, just the question you just asked me is, how do we get more people to know about all the things that are happening in the squash world, what the sport's all about, the value system of the sport, the fun of the sport, the benefits of the sport. So I think we're gonna, and you asked me how the LPGA experience will lead to this. I think we did a lot of the same stuff at the LPGA, was think about what type of marketing we can do to get people to know our athletes, to know the tour, to be fans, to communicate with our fans, to build a sort of a bigger marketing communications content sort of operation to market the sport. I think that's what we're uniquely positioned to do at US Squash. And then also just help people, like people here at Open Squash who are building courts for people to play. How can we be a resource? I think more broadly, like, how can US Squash support the entire ecosystem of squash and be sort of servant leaders in that? And I think that's what our goals are. And then with the Olympics on the horizon, I mean, that's something that people can really relate to say, this sport is a great college sport, it's a great youth sport, it's a great professional sport. I've already been to 2 PSA tournaments in my first month.
Which ones?
Well, I went to the TOC here in the city.
Fantastic.
And
I would argue, I was going to say the best, but the one in Egypt I haven't been to in the
At the pyramids,
and so maybe that's the best. But those are 1 and 2. Whatever order you put them, those are 1 and 2.
Well, I've only been to 2, so all I can say is they were both great. But
The second one?
In Chicago, the Windy City,
Yeah.
And that was really fun too, because it was slightly different. But watching those athletes, I mean, my God, they're so talented and so fit and so just technically amazing. And so I think it's mesmerizing to watch.
Oh my goodness me! Well, this is absolutely ridiculous.
So I think we can help all that.
I would put a squash athlete in a sort of non-skill-based fitness testing activity against any athlete in the world. For sure.
Yeah. Well, even just this past weekend in the doubles tournament, I was really impressed by the talent in the finals. I watched the men's finals and the women's finals, and just how talented they were was really fun. And it's so competitive. The other part of squash that's so amazing that people don't know the full story. Number one, equal pay on the PSA.
Yeah.
The men and women
One of
equal
very,
prize.
very, very few. I don't know. I think there are others, but I don't know who they are.
Like in tennis and the majors, they have equal pay, which is awesome, but not always at all the other tournaments. But very few sports can can boast about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You
How
said
about
the
that?
name of our show.
How about that? But that is a really important thing today as
Yeah.
women's sports are growing and people are talking
Yeah.
about that. So I think that's amazing. The global nature of the sport I think is really interesting and important. I think kind of what the SEA network does and how the sport gives back and has impact in different communities is not really known by everyone, and I'd love to be able to highlight that. And then the work that people like you guys do here is awesome at Open Squash. And so there's lots of opportunities for growth. And I think if U.S. Squash can, I think we've built a wonderful infrastructure, and I think we can take the baton and sort of be helpful to the whole world of squash even more aggressively.
And then I'll just say one other thing that I love when I play squash. Sometimes I play kids, boys and girls. Sometimes I play middle-aged people, men and women. Sometimes I play older people, men and women. And I lose and win to all of those people in equal proportion,
Right.
which is not always the case
Right.
in all sports.
Yeah.
You don't have that sort of complete equality across,
Right.
you can find any gender, any age, at any skill level, and you can play them and have a really great game.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not always the case.
No, it's not at all. And the other thing that's really interesting about squash too is just the intersection between U.S. squash and the college game. So this weekend, obviously, the college nationals, the CSA national tournament this weekend, which I'll be there. That's really unusual. So to be able to connect the dots all the way through the junior players up into college, and then having great relationship with the PSA and with the WSF, and I just love how connected the whole squash community is. And I think together, and then with, as I said, with SEA and all of the wonderful programs that are out there, I think we have an opportunity to have like 1 + 1 = 7, which is really fun and exciting. And the squash community has been, I've only been at this for a month, but so welcoming, so passionate, which has been really fun.
Yeah. One of the paranoias I have about the Olympics, I'm very excited. What do you think about the fact that they're going to decide whether it's in Brisbane before the LA Games? And do you have any insights into what's happening there?
I think they're going to probably will make that decision before the 28 games. So that's, I think a lot of people are working hard with the WSF really leading the charge, and obviously all of us helping wherever we can, because, we need to make sure that's at Brisbane, but it would be awesome if the decision was made after 2028, because I know it's going to be a gigantic success.
Exactly.
And so to be able to prove how appealing the sport is, and how much people will enjoy it, I wish we could have that decision afterwards. But I think
in your role, do you have any opportunity to weigh in on that?
I think we'll be involved to the degree that we can be. We'll certainly are getting all the information, and we're talking with the great folks at the WSF, and the whole squash community is putting our best foot forward to see how we can make that happen, because I think it is a perfect sport for the Olympics, just in terms of the global nature of it. It's not a ton of athletes, so it's very efficient in how you only have one court, and you can kind of plop it anywhere.
Yeah, it can be very iconic.
Very iconic. You can have it at whatever location the organizing committee wants it to be, and wherever they're trying to drive traffic, and it's so visually appealing. You drop that glass court, and by then there'll be even more technology, I think, that will be able to show great things on the court. So I think that's a really important thing for us to keep working on, and work collaboratively and collectively to hopefully make that happen.
As we think about how to grow the sport together, what would you say to someone who is watching this show and is like, I have an idea? What would you say? How should they sort of reach out, and how should they collaborate with U.S. Squash?
Yeah, I think just call us, and that's really what I've been doing too over the past 4 weeks, is meeting with people from all across the sport, from coaches to facility owners to parents to athletes to people in the industry, who, whether they're suppliers or manufacturers, and fans, just to say, like, you've been in the sport for a long time, like, what do you see? What are your ideas? Let's bring there's a lot of really smart people who are involved in squash, and a lot of really passionate people, so let's get all the best ideas on the table and put together a real clear strategy, and go after it. I think that's fun.
Is there an email that they can reach out to, or is there a place that they can go to?
Yeah, I think go to our website, and obviously you can always reach out out to me, which is mollie.samaan@ussquash.org. I might get a lot of emails,
You might.
but I think we can always, we've got a great team at US Squash. They work so hard. They're very committed to the mission, and I think we need more of us, probably more people on our team to be able to scale this appropriately. But I think there's no doubt the passion is there. I mean, people love what they do and feel very strongly about the value of the sport, which is an amazing place to come into as a leader, to be like, wow, got a team of people that are self-motivated who want to be great. And I think if we can just kind of make sure we're serving the whole squash community, we'll be in a good spot.
And I really do feel like we're just on the edge of this little inflection point here. So, congratulations to you for being in the right place.
Sometimes life's about timing, right? But I think, more courts, more coaches, and supporting all the amazing coaches that are out there, more marketing, and just building off of the infrastructure that's been built, and making sure we're just, really, like I said, letting people know about this game and the great value of playing at every level, which is really fun to do.
Mollie, it's been a pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Let's play. Let's make sure we play. I gotta get a little better before
anytime,
we do.
anytime. You do not need to get better.
Okay.
You do not need to get better. I would love to play.
Perfect.